Good morning, and welcome to the Institute of Spiritual Enlightenment. I'm going to ask that you find that quiet space within inside of yourself, and we're going to just make peace. Be still and know that you are the divine. You are who we've been waiting for. And Father, Mother God, we give thanks for this time that we spent together in harmony, building up this universe, as we invoke our guides, guards, ancestors, and the ancient ones to draw near, to lend their spirit, to lend their power, to help us take on that authority to truly be the divine gods of this earth. And for this time that we spend together in oneness and harmony, we say Ashep, 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 Ashep. Well, this morning we're going to be blessed by Ashep. He's going to be speaking about status and nationality. It is something that when we understand who we are, and then when we carry that knowledge with our divineness, that's what makes us the gods that we are supposed to be on this earth. But we have to understand that because you can't separate, this government says that things are separated, church and state are separated. They cannot be. How do you take your spirit out of your body? Yeah. When you think about it, how do you take that? So, however we stand spiritually is the same way we stand in our nationality. We are. So I present to you Dr. Ashep.
Yes. Good thanks. All right. Good celebration. How's everyone?
Wonderful.
All right, good. Just to start off, I use this word celebration consciously as I stand before you, my proper status, and reprogram myself. Although we say good morning, I'd rather say a good celebration. I'd rather have a good celebration any day than have a good morning.
Right.
So I simply say good celebration. It's something I'm going to program myself, reprogram myself. So today we're going to just talk a little bit about status and nationality. I just took the liberty to just write down in a general sense the definition or a definition of status and nationality. If you look at the root of the word status, it's simply it's state. And so what I simply said was status is a state or condition of a person, place, or thing, usually as it relates to another person, place, or thing. I know a very general definition. Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
Okay, and nationality. The root word of nationality was nation. So I said, well, nationality is simply a nation or a nation state of people that a person belongs. Is that simple enough, fair enough?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So, what does that mean? How does that apply to our everyday life? We get up and go out here and interact with everything and everybody and do this all that stuff. Simply put, specifically, right now, let's just talk about status at law, right, and status in commerce, okay? The reason being because everything is commerce these days, whether we realize it or not. So when you just talk about status, right, even though status and nationality can be used together, they're not the same thing, even though your nationality could determine your status. But you don't have to have a nationality in order to have a status. Because everybody got a status, whether you realize it or not. We all have a status, whether we have a nationality or not. And how that status plays out in law or in commerce is such as this. We can look at it as two sides. You have a private side and a public side, right? On the private side, most of us in here would agree that we all living, right? I'm alive, I'm living, I'm breathing, living flesh and blood, right? As opposed to, say, something that's not living, it could be called, say, fiction. Fiction is not alive, not living, is fiction. So, on one side, you can say we're living. Living, breathing, being, right? And on the other side of that, we'll have what's called a fictitious entity. And actually, this is actually a legal term used in law, fictitious entity. Meaning that there are some things out here that we can actually see and observe, and we think that it's real. Like, I'm real. If I see you, if I see something else, it must be real also. No, that's an illusion. It could be an illusion, rather, because it could be classified as a fictitious entity, right? Another way of looking at this is, I'm living, I'm alive, I'm natural. I'm just a natural person, right? Again, as opposed to someone who's not a natural person. If you're not natural, it's in food all the time. We have natural food, natural ingredients, and we have man-made stuff. It's artificial, right? So we also can say there's an artificial person. And these are synonyms on the private side of status. And these are synonyms on the public side of status, right? I'm going to dog and do one more and say, if someone has a nationality, meaning that if you have publicly said, hey, I belong to a nation of people, or I belong to, this nation of people, and my nationality is so-and-so. For example, myself, I have a nationality. I'm a Moor by bloodline, which makes my nationality here in America Moorish American. So my nationality would be Moorish American. Right? And all I did was to say that I'm a Moorish American is simply declare it, right? It's something called an affidavit, which is something that on the private side, if your status is on the private side, we like to say that you're in your proper status because you're living, you're a natural person, you may or may not have a nationality, right? But if you have a nationality, and this can be looked at also as sovereign. And I'm just putting these two together. I know sometimes, there's been a lot of talk about nationality being a Moorish American sovereign citizen movement. I'm just simplifying a lot of stuff, a lot of information, right? So if you have a nationality, you belong to a certain set of people, you actually have a nationality, or better yet, you're a national, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're saying is that as opposed to a national, you would be a citizen. Or if you're not sovereign, then you'll be chattel property. Right? And this is simple. This is very, very simple on how status is looked at here in this land that we live in. This country we call America, North America, whatever you want to call it, the United States. You get into the semantics of the United States as a corporation, which it is. I mean, we don't want to go that deep right now. This is just very, very simple, very, very general understanding status and nationality. Because again, we all have a status, period. If you're not aware of your status, by default, your status is over here on this side. You're classified as a fictitious entity, an artificial person. You're a citizen. Well, most people would agree that they're a citizen, but they don't understand what comes with being a citizen, right? It's the same as being a chattel property, right? Now, the reason why we started declaring my nationality, all that I did was I made a declaration, an affidavit. I made publicly known that, hey, I am somebody. I belong to a certain group of people. These are my people. This is my people I come from. I'm not a bastard child. I have people, right? Not to say there's nothing wrong with being a bastard child, because as we will see at some point in time, we will actually transcend all of this. Because once you're really in our proper status, really, truly indeed proper status, all this is on this plane, as above, so below. So we're talking about status and nationality as it pertains to the below dimension. We call Earth, the physical plane. And this physical plane, there is a duality. And the duality is, your status is either you walk around like you're supposed to be in your proper status, I'm living, I'm breathing, right? Or you walk around here as a fictitious entity, artificial person, citizen, chattel property. Any questions so far? Right. Yes.
Back to the Moorish American. So can we state now when it says what is your nationality and it has a box that says other, by the simple fact, can I say I'm Moorish American?
Yes.
Thank
Yes. Absolutely. And also, at some point in time, you may wish to say that I am.
you. Okay.
I am. Let me explain what I mean by I am. Right? As I said, the only thing I've done was, some people in here have done the same thing. They just declare your nationality. I've gone to a certain group of people, right?
Why Moorish?
Well,
Why not something else?
Washington.
Yeah.
that's a good question.
Yeah, why Washington? Why not Cherokee American?
Well,
Seminole American? I think that's what I would feel.
right. And then and see, the beautiful thing about it is, you can declare nationality amongst any of those titles or organizations that you see fit, based upon what resonates with you and your being. You know, you study these people, when you read about them, you meet someone who says they're so and so, there's a certain resonation. Wow. Or even you may know your history. You know, you have some great relatives who actually came from these actual tribes, which is great. That's wonderful. I mean, you're still putting yourself on the private side, which is what we should be. However, the reason why I chose the word, chose to be a Moorish American and embrace the word Moor is because based upon my studies, I found out that Moor encompasses all of those other tribes, right? And my studies are letting that Moor, either M-U-U-R or M-O-O-R, right? This simply was one of the longest lasting legal and political identities of us as a people of color, which we commonly call black people today. You know, black man, white man, yellow man, crayons. The so-called black man, one of the longest legal political identities that we were known as were the Moors. And we actually, one of our last high days, so to say, was thank heaven for 7/11 and 1492 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, right?
Still remember that.
Right. So always thank heaven for 7/11 is when the largest influx of the Moors went into Europe, southern Europe, Spain, and we actually, during the Renaissance period, so far Renaissance period, the castles, the street lamps, the sewage systems, you know, the bubonic plague, got rid of that. We just taught civilization, right? And that's what we've been known for throughout history. And like I say, no matter who you choose to identify yourself with, because I'm a student of the Kemetic tree of life. You know, my name is Kemetic, but at the same time, I'm looking at that as still being under the Moorish, you know, umbrella of this. I'm a Moor. You know, at one point I studied with the Hebrew Israelites, and you know, I was like, man, Israelite, yeah, but now I'm like, well, at that point in time, the Moors were known as Israelites. At some point in time, this is my philosophy, my story. At some point in time, the Moors was known as the Olmecs, the Aztecs. You know, all of the indigenous people over here were known as the Moors. In fact, when Christopher Columbus came over here and he wrote letters back to the Queen, he was describing the people, he was describing their color, which is the same as the Moors over in Europe. And they actually use that terminology in his own letters. So like I say, for my studies, you just I love simplifying things, just going straight to truth, plain simple truth. You know, I meet a lot of brothers who are Israelites, not Nubians, and where I am right now, we agree. Oh yeah, okay, and we just build where we are because it's the same basic foundation of knowing who we are. We're the indigenous people, right? This is our planet, and we have a certain responsibility by living the manifestation or personification of the Most High Divine Being that some other people call God. That is our fiduciary responsibility. And so once we really get in our proper status, that is how we should, that is the mode of operation, right? And like I say, it will kind of shadow all of this because these are actually tools, right? These are tools for us to get to that point, you know, because what I mean by tools is anytime there's an interaction with we like to call it, we like to call it a corporation, because as quiet as kept, the United States of America, the so-called government, is no longer a government, it's actually a corporation. Right. It is codified in their laws that the United States is a corporation, right? So bang zoom. So anyone out there in TV land or anyone wondering, well, why is so going on? These laws don't make sense, you know. You can't dig in your nose on Monday, you can't wear pink on Tuesday. Well, they're not really laws. They're the policy, right, for their citizens, their subject, their chattel property. The same way as McDonald's and or Walmart might have a security guard, a little Jeep running around the parking lot. They're policing the area. The same way that Walmart has a security guard policing the area. The so-called police that run around the cars are policing the area for the corporation, right? And so when we're just simply making plain and clear here, well, now that we know this, what does that mean? Just to step further with this, anytime, like I said, anytime there's an interaction with the corporation, especially some legal matter, and usually it is the police that we come in contact with first. They want to stop us in the street, speed, ticket, no matter what the case. And then we go to the courthouse, and see, really get up to this system. But the order of day is this. First, there is status. Next, there is jurisdiction. And after jurisdiction, there is adjudication. Now, what does that mean? Status, jurisdiction, adjudication. It simply means this, right? The corporation will assume status. I mean, they will assume everyone is a public entity, public figure, right? And so they have what's called public policy. It's not that you breaking the actual law, common law, this, that, and the other, but you're breaking public policy that's enforced by the policy enforcers that police the area. Go ahead, Brother Bill.
First, they assume your ignorance.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
First, they assume your ignorance of the law, that you don't know legalese.
Right.
Okay. That's for real.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. These niggas don't know nothing.
Yeah.
And really, white or black, all niggas. We only couple. Man, 98%, 99% of the people in this country is over here. At least 90%. And the public don't even know it. And what happens is, anytime you're approached by, like, say, a police officer, they assume that you're on this side, right off the bat. Which means that if you dig in your nose and it's Wednesday, man, if you choose to dig in your nose, I'm gonna write you a ticket, I'm gonna do something to you. Whatever the case may be, if you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing that they said on a certain day, they got you. Why? Because of your status, right? Because of your status. And so simply one of the things that we do, right? And not the status is jurisdiction, right? Because they say, because your status is over here, because your status is a fictitious entity, artificial person, you're a citizen, chattel property, all these are the same. Because of your status right here, we have jurisdiction. And jurisdiction is just the ability, jurisdiction, law, diction, communication, language. The ability to communicate law. So because of your status, right, we have the ability to communicate law to you, and it's our law. And our law can be, like I say, you jaywalking, you can't talk on your cell phone, you can't eat bologna sandwiches on a certain day, whatever the case may be. They have jurisdiction because of your status that they assume and presume. Which means that because they have jurisdiction, they have the power to adjudicate. Meaning they say, because of your status, right? Because you my nigga. That's my nigga right there. As long as you up and up, as long as you doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're cool. But if you're doing something, I can't get no money, or you causing some ruckus and uproar and people and kind of look, we got to do something with you, right? Which means that we have jurisdiction. And that anything that we say that you're going to do will lock you up 14 days, 30 days, because you was drinking and whatever the case may be. All these things, they have that power. All because of your status. Because of your status, you're in their jurisdiction, and they can do whatever to you. Right? It may seem like not too much now, but, a lot of people talking about them daggone speed cameras and whatnot. Speed tickets and this, that, and the other. Every now and then people talking about Big Brother watching. You can't do this, you can't do that. That's correct. Because you over here, your status is known as a fictitious entity, artificial person, a citizen, a shallow property. Actually, just to name a few. Right? And because that's your status, they can do any and whatever thing they can to you. Right? However, for example, like myself, as I say, as a nationality, by default I'm over here, usually, because you still have to make it publicly known, right? Not to say again, not to say that everyone has to have a nationality to become private or to become not subject to their laws, right? I mean, the reason why I say that is because a lot of people, Europeans, for that matter, are using the word sovereign. They're saying they're sovereign citizens, right? It's the same language. I was saying that, man, I know what you're doing. I'm not over in the public, I'm on the private side, which means that you operate a little bit differently, right? Which means that now that a police officer, which most people call a police officer, or a policy enforcer, wish to challenge you on something, stop you from anything, because of your status, you have the fiduciary responsibility to make that policy enforcer known to be a status. I can't look at that. I understand what your codes may say, but because of who I am, right? That don't apply to me. No, not because of who I am. You must have a probable cause, right? And the reason being you must have a probable cause is, and the Constitution of the United States of America, right, which is a beautiful, beautiful document, that we help them put together, is a trust. It came as a trust. As a trust, you have three parts. You have the grantors, someone who give the power, give whatever. You have the trustees, people who are responsible for carrying out the duty. You have the beneficiary, the people who are benefit from the trust. And ideally, we the people, right, are the trustors or the grantors. We the people say, we got power, we people. Okay. So with this power, what we're going to do is we're going to elect officials to be the trustees. So-called politicians, elected officials, they're the trustees. What their responsibility is to operate and make laws on my behalf as the beneficiary, right? So the Bill of Rights is the perfect thing. It protects and guarantees all of our rights. And the first part of the Constitution is for them, to put them in a box. The first part boxes them. As a trustee, they're very limited, right? The amendments, the Bill of Rights say, we protect all our rights to be free and sovereign while we're going to do anything about it. Now, you can actually access this and use this to your advantage in your proper status on the private side, simply by declaring, hey man, I'm not a corporation, I'm a living flesh and blood being. I'm breathing, I'm a natural person. I'm a natural person. The same as a corporation. Or I'm a national, I have a nationality, I belong to a certain set of people, right? Just to give you an idea what I mean by that, just three little things I'm going to take out of here. First, one thing in their box, right, on their side, meaning what bounds them. This is what it says. Article 4, Section 4 says, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion and application of legislation or the execution. Simply put, the United States guarantees every state a sovereign form of government. All that means is that this. You have a republican form, and you have a democratic form of government. And this is separate from the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. In a Republican form of government, majority rules. It's like, what do we all agree on? Let's do it. And we elect somebody to represent us. If they pass laws that we don't agree, we just simply say we don't agree with that. They have to do that. They will be replaced. It is just that it is what they say should happen. But because we all see that that's not happening, that means that there's another form of government going on. And that other form of government is called a democracy, where the majority rules. Where the majority says this, and if you don't like that, too bad. But what about, it can be 51 to 49, but yet that's the majority, it has to go down. Let you know. Along with some other stuff, but those are the two main differences between the Republican form of government and the democracy form of government. Every state should have a Republican form of government. And again, your proper status, what you're saying is that you're letting them know that, hey, if I'm in Maryland Republican. I'm sovereign, the state is sovereign, I'm sovereign. So there's a different way of communicating when you're in proper status, when you know what's going on. Right? So not to get too deep into that, because this is a very general conversation, just on the surface. It goes deep if you allow yourself to see what's going on, or at least be able to put together which you already know. So I'm pretty sure all of us in here already know that something ain't right. Something just ain't right. So I'm just kind of sharing a little bit of information about status and nationality and saying that this is the actual key to get your remedy to what's not right. Okay? So that's Article 4, Section 4. Article 6 says this. This Constitution, this is on page 15, actually, you guys have the book, this is wonderful. This Constitution, page 15 at the bottom, on Article 5, the second paragraph, says this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or any laws or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Now, this is one of the biggest articles that we use, as a Moorish American, and to get our remedy, because when I'm speaking on status, jurisdiction, and adjudication, two sides, I'm speaking through experience. Right? I studied it, and I jumped out there. I said, no, man, this is who I am. And I challenged them. Yes, I challenged them. What I know now is I was operating the law of force. Operating the law of force. It's the law of harmony. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that a little while later. Right. Right. But I had this new information. And what I did, the same things when I started my spiritual journey back in 93, 94, when I got baptized again in the church. But this time I was serious. I was committed. I'm like, look at God. I read, Enoch didn't die, Elijah didn't die. I'm like, man, they didn't die. They just walked with God. How do I get in that relationship? In the church. I'm in the church going for it. But after a while, I begin to, wait a minute, what y'all doing? What's going on? Like, oh man, that's something ain't right. But I was so open, I was led to the Israelites. I was led to other teachers. And at some point, I was going like, oh man, Christianity, Jesus, what you talking about, man? Looking to debate, looking to say, and me thinking, if I come out to you like this, show you what's happening, you're like, oh man, for real? Nah, man, that ain't where it went down. That's the law of force. I'm trying to force, convert, I'm manipulating because I'm using my emotion, using my energy to say, yeah, come on. Spiritual masturbating, whatever you want to call it. And that was wrong. So, the same thing kind of happened when I found out that I'm a Moor. Like, wait a minute. So I was on the spiritual thing, I stopped paying tax. I'm like, man, these guys are evil. It's an evil system, man. I can't be a part of this system. That's all I knew. I was like, man, whatever law they got going on, I'm separate. But I didn't know how to legally and lawfully do that. So I came across the situation, man. Look here, we Moors. This is our land, right? 1913, Prophet Noble Drew Ali came back out. Like I say, this is great, 77 to 1492. But he's talking about in 1913, a brother named Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I mean, he all in Panama and Cuba, on the world stage, and we get the Moors back, baby. This is taking our proper place amongst the affairs of men in nations, so then in the world, around the world, there's nations. Again, if you don't have a nationality saying that I belong to a certain people, it's like you being a bastard child, which is okay if on one hand you're okay with that, or on the other hand you've risen above that and realize that my true proper identity, none of this matters, and at the same time it does. I'm always at the same time. We'll get more into that a bit later. Like I said, we just got to insert, make sure we understand this simple status and nationality, right? But back to my story, as I make this a little personal a little bit. So as a Moorish American, all I did was I declared my nationality. I just did an affidavit. I had court cases. I put them in the court, right? And the reason why I say I was operating under the law of force, not the law of harmony, was because I found some information, and I challenged them. Like I challenged Christianity. Come on, talk to me. Man, I had a little red car I bought from my Moorish brother. I gave him some cash for it. He gave me the title. Another brother said, look at me, this is how you get a U.S. DOT number. I went online, It's a process, but I got a U.S. DOT number from U.S. Permit Transportation. So I went got a vanity plate with that number on this. I'm riding around, car investing, no insurance, no nothing, U.S. DOT tags. And of course, after that, one of my Moorish brothers from Mark, he created a Moorish tag. I'm like, oh yeah, we the DOT. Moorish American, private, solid, you know, the shields and everything on there, little red top. Just riding around DC, Maryland, Baltimore, everywhere, right? Which is cool on one side because I'm exercising my right. From the other side, you know, a lot of times, you're like, oh man, got to pull over here. What's going on, man? Yeah, no speed belt, you understand? Oh, man, you look close to me, man. Telling you that. The first incident I had, just to test it out, this how things work for me. I'm on a beltway. I passed by the police officer. I'm on like 80 pounds. They're right behind me. And I act like I don't see them. When they finally pulled me over, I told them nothing happened. This is the very first time I ever, like, I think it was the first day I got the car, right? But then after that, I was like, okay, yeah, it works. Something really got it. But after that, it started going down. Because every time I got stopped after that, it was like, nah, man, we give you some tickets here. So they gave me some tickets, I ended up going to court. And then, sometime after that, they said, oh, shit, we're going to, man, that's arrested. The law says you're not supposed to drive a license in DC, no permit, you go to jail. So, I mean, for a while, at one point, I had like 5 cases going on in DC and Maryland. 2 in PG County, 1 in Baltimore, and 2 in DC. This was like in 2012. This was at the height of me challenging the system, man. I mean, I'm standing on a right to travel card. The Constitution, man, come on now, living it. But again, under the law of force, right? And what happened was actually, because I missed a few court dates, because in the midst of me got 5 cases going on in Maryland, DC. What they did was they took my car. Because as long as I'm going to court, I'm standing up there, which is jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? Because it says here all the judges are bound by oath to support the Constitution. The Constitution says, I have a right to travel, man, freedom of liberty. I'm like, where's your oath? I'm reading the oath. Your oath says this. In the courtroom, giving it to me. You know, thinking I'm doing something. Spiritually, I'm like, oh, man, I got it. I wasn't doing nothing but just, you know, going around, having fun with stuff, you know. I learned some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't rapping, I did learn stuff, right? And so I missed a few court dates, right? Because they took my car. They said, don't let me give my car back if I get it registered. Get it registered. So I started sending affidavits to Sharon Baker, the guy that stole my car, the chief of police. I'm trying to put a lien on everybody, right? And then I was about to get evicted. So I'm trying to get evicted. Because I wasn't paying rent and no money, no way, right? And what happened in this situation, right? He slumlord, you know, typical slumlord, one of us, in the slumlord, right? And so he wasn't paying his water bill. So while he's trying to get me out, the court took the bill from him saying, you didn't pay your water bill. And so they sent a tenants letter saying, we got to pay money to adjacent corporation, something like that. So I was like, wait a minute. Cool, I saw a window. So I put a claim in for the building. In fact, it's still on YouTube right now. It's called peaceful possession. Well, it's so many pages. I can do a public notice like in the newspaper, so many pages. I just flipped the pages on YouTube. It's still on YouTube today. I'm claiming I'm taking the man's building. Why? Because I'm not living here, but this is where I keep this body. This body, I stay that the body's kept there, right? Because I live inside the body, right? All this technical, this clarity of language. Since I'm here, I'm a Moor. This is my land, and if someone has an opposition to be claiming his actual land, the soil, not the building, but the soil, speak now, never hold your peace. You know, man, I'm in court with this guy, the judge. He's telling me trying to take my property. Anyway, I did a lot on this private side, putting it to the test. From taking buildings, right to travel, mortgage discharge. I haven't like gotten one like totally free and clear, but I personally like stopped some foreclosure sales. Not like a sale date next month. I mean the sale is tomorrow morning. Look here, this is what we go do. Yada yada. Send the stuff to the law firm, fax it over there, shut them down, man. They ain't still on the property. They just went away for a little while. You know what I'm saying? Some people just went away for, they ain't heard them back yet. You know, sometimes they come back. But just challenging them, right? Oh, just live my personal testimony and say, well, what I'm telling you about the statute of jurisdiction is real. It is true. We have to know the law. Because once you're in the proper status, just knowing the law, be able to cast spells. You know, you cast a spell, you're right, you know, your energy into it, and it's tight here. You send it forth, go forth, and do what you're supposed to do. Word ain't doing nothing because I know who I am on proper status. If there's an issue, there's something going on, I prepare what's called an affidavit. In law, an affidavit is your word of truth. It's the word of bond. If I am who I say I am, whatever's in this affidavit, that's a truth, babe. I'm saying that.
So you're equating the spell with your affidavit.
Exactly. Exactly. Those of us who know, because we're spelling, you know, you spell out words. If you have your attention and intention is in what you're doing, you that meditative state, cool, calm, and collected. So shall it be. In your proper status, that's what it all comes down to, your proper status, right? And the reason why I keep talking about proper status is because of this. Any questions so far about anything?
So when you say proper status, even if somebody is child property or a citizen, and they don't know any better, they're still in their proper status because they don't know any better.
Yeah, that's the way to look at it.
Yeah, they would be in their proper status.
Right.
In their ignorance.
In their ignorance. Right. Right.
Yeah.
No, it's saying that once you become aware, right, then you have the power to choose. And what happens
so that would be the same thing. Even what I'm doing in my mind is I'm equating it to the spiritual side because that's what I teach. And I'm teaching people how to be in their proper status spiritually so that you can operate, because people are always looking for the magic wand. What herbs can I use? What can I do to do it? You have to know who you are so that when you actually write those spells, when you say go forth, it's going to be done.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, brother B.
Yeah, more than proper status, but you also challenge the authority to challenge you.
Yes.
What gives them authority over you?
Right.
Over your being.
That's right.
So that's another way to
right.
To go after.
Right.
Authority.
Right, and you remind them because you are a public servant. Because you are a public trustee.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is
to serve me.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
No, but their law comes from their I guess
their
higher power, not from your power. They derive their power because they declared it.
Right, themselves.
Okay, themselves. Right, exactly. So if you declare your power is equal to their power, it's a wash.
Well, I see that a little differently. I see it as that's their policy that they have written, and they are assuming that you're on the public side. Mm-hmm. So because they're assuming that you're on the public side, when they come to you, that's what they're assuming. But you have to speak and demonstrate who you are. When you demonstrate who you are, you trump them.
Right.
They can't touch you.
Right.
Because you're coming from the true essence of the law. But you have to know who you are so that you know how to.
You have to literally take that authority
from them. Right.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go.
And
you have to take it from them.
And so for me, the ultimate on this private side would be that divine being, whereas on the public side would be that human being. Like I say, for me, I just simplify it. At some point in time, we deal with this on this plane, yada, yada, yada. I'm a national, I'm a more, I'm sovereign, I'm not a corporation, yada, yada, yada. Cool. Those are tools, right, to allow us to practice standing on our square, right? Because once you effectively stand on your square on this plane below, because you can't keep jumping the fence, yeah, even though they complaining, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? Ain't nothing we can do. But you know about this, you still complaining, you cut yourself off from your divine, your spiritual power. Period. No ifs, and buts, nors, or roars about it.
But if you attack their legal leads, that's what I want to get. They actually set up an authority of fraud.
Right.
Okay, if you really want to be honest about it, it's truly fraud, and they see that they're actually working on it.
Well, one of the things we like to say is only fraud in the city if you catch them and they don't do anything about it. Because the way their laws is written, they can't look that well. Even though they have what's called the USC, right? U.S. codes, which is not Constitution. That's the law council, the Office of Law Revision Council. Some lawyers put together the United States Code, which is everybody, USC, which
Never ratified.
never ratified, and most of the titles are not positive law anyway, right? It's only prima facie law on the surface.
What does that mean? Communication?
On its face, it's in the beginning when they first give it to you, they gonna assume that it's real until you counter it and rebut it with evidence.
And that's
Am I correct?
They're absolutely correct.
So if I don't counter it,
It's law.
it's not.
It's law.
Just like presumption under 301.
Get out of here!
Yep.
And in Maryland, they let you know Maryland's the only state that'll tell you, because they think everybody in Maryland is stupid. So they actually write in Maryland law, this is presumption. But no one catches that you have to rebut it with evidence they go along with. This presumption to them, they just force it, and people don't know what presumption means, obviously, because they never rebut it. But Maryland is the only state, one of the few states that actually tell you this is presumption. I'm presuming that this is what it is. And all the other states, you have to figure it out, but it's still presumption with prima facie on its first letter.
Yep.
So if it is presumption, can a private divine being challenge that?
All day. All you do is say, okay, man. No, this is what the law says. This is what you got down here. This is prima facie. This is what the actual law says. And you can either do that one or two ways. Either you know exactly what the law says, within the Constitution, or if you go to the U.S. codes, it'll tell you where the law supposedly came from. Because these U.S. codes supposedly come from the statutes at large, which was the law that was written by Congress. After the Constitution, they call it the statutes at large. For example, part of the statutes at large is the National Bank Act. Things like 1864, something like that, it was established. It's still the law today, the National Bank Act. Title 12, Banks and Banking, is under the USC. It is not positive law, it's prima facie law. The National Bank Act says that banks can't hold a mortgage longer than 5 years.
Right.
So 10 years, 15, 20 is illegal based on the National Bank Act. They can't loan out money, no money. Deposit. Right.
For real.
For real, but they take it, do it, and they want you to pay it back, right? What else? There's a couple of things that limit them in the National Bank Act, right? But if they're going off Title 12, banks and banking, they got banks are not supposed to hold more than 5 years, except yada 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 yada. And they just have things that contradict what the National Bank Act says. And if you're not aware of that, then you assume Title 12 is the law, but it's only prima facie. And if you don't go back and check what law came from, then they got you already.
Now, is there a place that we can find these USC laws?
Yeah, right. The government got them listed. They so good with it on the website. They'll define what is positive law, what is prima facie law, and they'll tell you how to get your remedy. They'll tell you to search to find out where the law came from to see if it stands up to it. If it stands up to it, it's great. If it don't, it's not. Like I say, and they have a list of what are all positive law or prima facie law. For example, the IRS code, Title 26, is prima facie law. So the IRS, that whole code, Title 26, yada yada yada, that whole law is prima facie law. Taxes are illegal. Taxes are for corporations.
Right.
The income derived from corporations.
But when you're operating on the public side, they consider you a corporation.
Exactly.
That's why you're supposed to pay the taxes.
Exactly.
But if you, on the private side,
Right.
and write an affidavit to establish your divine being side,
Right.
then you don't have to pay taxes.
Right.
So couldn't you step out of their admiralty court and go back into common law or natural law?
Right. You can, and then there are theories on this because all the courts right now, for the most part, is corrupt.
Yeah, right.
Corrupt. So one of the things that we do is we go into court. We establish for the record. We may turn into a common law court.
Right.
Based on the law. This is a court of record. A court of record by law. This is a common law court. So I invoke all my common law rights, unalienable God-given rights, waiving none. Right.
So the admiralty court is the court of commerce.
Right. Right.
Well, what is an admiralty court?
Maritime.
Because to me, that's water, that's land,
Right.
Navy.
Yeah. Admiral.
So what does that have to do with?
Because on the high seas, you know, you're dealing with commerce. On the ship pulls in the port, it is at its birth,
Right.
and it has a manifest
Right.
that gives a description
Yeah.
of the cargo. And the same way as the wingman,
But I'm saying, why are they using admiralty? I mean,
because they say,
we're on the land. We're not.
and on one sense you're on the land. Another sense is when you give birth to me, mother, I said,
Right.
I come from the waters. This is you're birthing.
Okay.
It's like a ship pulls into its foot at birth.
Yes.
So it is giving birth.
Yes.
The manifest, the captain's manifest, the captain signs off on the manifest, and this is what the cargo is.
So the
When you
mother-
sign off on the birth certificate, you know, a Negro, so-and-so age, as the informant,
Yes.
right? I say, okay, cool. We got another, big,
Another
fictitious
child
corporation,
property.
child property, right? And that just latches you on there, get the social
So
security
when
number.
they say, when you say admiralty court, and these courts that we have here,
Right,
you said all of those are admiralty?
right, yes,
If you see the fringe or the so-called, if you see the fringe or the flag, and those fringe,
right,
in that admiralty court.
Well, that's all of them.
exactly.
I mean, even when Congress, when you see them on Congress, they have the fringe around the flag.
Right,
I've never seen it without.
exactly. Because you have not known the time when this country has not been a corporation. Have not been.
And at war.
And at war. Right.
That's what gives them the right to keep it in the amateur as long as they have some sort of war. That's why they have war on drugs, war on property, war on this and war on that. Because as long as they have war, it means you're stuck in the state of emergency act in 1933. And that's why they can enforce all these agencies.
Wow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Just that simple.
Dang.
Yeah. And read this Fourth Amendment, right? This is one more amendment. This is cool, right? I like this. This is one of my favorite amendments. I love it. Constitution, I say. The Fourth Amendment, this is on page 22, right? It says, top of the page, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
So that means that when they come in, or if they come in, they're supposed to have a list of things that they're actually going to search.
Right,
But the key words in it is probable cause.
right, right.
Okay.
And this includes even riding down the street in your automobile, you know, as you navigate.
Who determined probable cause?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
They do.
right. Generally speaking, the probable cause is they must have a reason that you have just committed a crime. Generally speaking. Right.
That's the definition.
Yeah.
With that definition, that's something because sometimes they say that, you know, they pull you over because your light bust or that kind of bullcrap. And then upon that, whatever comes after that, to me, fraudulent probable cause,
Right.
you know, that's when you start breaking the law. So you may not have their license or something
Right.
like that, then you done broke something else. So you may have it on a weekend car, you done broke something else, all because you didn't have a light blinking light or something like
Right.
that when they consider that probable cause. So,
Right. That's probable cause is you have reason to believe that I have just committed a crime. Generally speaking, a busted tail light, they may say it's probable cause, but where is the crime? Well, a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. So who have I harmed? Who have I injured?
Right. By not wearing my seatbelt.
Right.
No, but they indict a ham sandwich. I mean, they don't need really probable
Right.
cause to bust into your house.
Right.
If they so choose, they will do that because there's no real challenge after they do that anyway. There's no challenge to their system. And you really have regress, if you will, once that takes place. You know, if they bust into your
Is
house,
that why they have
Okay.
eminent domain? So they can do it anyway?
They can do it anyway, I mean, just like.
That's what I'm saying, doesn't that give them the right?
The chokehold.
And the domain building, real estate, and them taking your property if they want to use it for like government purposes. So say if they want this building, you own this building, but the government want to do something. So they come offer you some money, but you don't take the money. So even though the Constitution states they can't take your land unless it's just compensation, they still use that prima facie law as eminent domain, so they will come take it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the eminent domain
Would
is.
they have to still have probable cause to come and take it anyway?
Their probable cause is because they need it. That's what they say. I need this piece of land to do something else with, so I'm gonna give you what I feel is fair. You say, nah, I want this. Don't make me valuable 20 years from now. This don't here say just compensation, whereas you can't take it. But if you don't invoke it, which most people don't, they're gonna say, well, eminent domain. They're gonna throw that prima facie law on there and then take the property based on that, because you haven't went over top of it with the Constitution that states I need just compensation. Just compensation to me means not only what it's worth now, but what it could be worth in 20 years. That whatever it could change 50 years from now if you still own the property, that's just compensation. So give me that price, which they not, you know, they just bully.
Okay, I just checked the news every now and then. But the last impression I had with this cell phone, they know so much about you.
That's right.
And you're all in your stuff.
It don't matter.
You understand?
I know.
Which is in total
Right.
asterisk, I can't put in words.
Right.
The description how they in violation with this.
Right.
What you do on NSA or everyone of us right now sitting here.
Yeah.
And I think
Help me, am I mixing?
No, you're right on point.
And I think it goes back to what he said, democracy, whenever he said
What happens to this whole book? I mean,
This piece of toilet paper.
You have to be in your proper status to access the power of that book. You have to be in your proper status. Period. You gotta let them know, look here, man, I ain't with that bullshit. This is who I am. And this is what the law says.
okay, yes.
And this is what you do in oath to support. If you're not gonna do that, you gotta remove yourself. If not, I will do that for you.
Well, I am sitting in my mind with something. This kind of blew my mind.
Right.
The implications of, and I said, just these things. I had the impression you can go through the airport now because you had this. Which implies to me, if I got it right, they know so much about you through this. This got a little bit before.
That's right.
That's non-existent. Unless I'm missing something.
That's because most of us are on this side, on the public side.
On the public
So if
side.
you're on the public side, you don't even understand what you have in your hand to even execute this.
Yeah, I agree because this conversation we're having is put everything in a whole nother.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, that's what they do. They are operating you and often the majority of us from the public side because we know not. And when you know not, people can do whatever they will with you. But once you know, that puts you on the private side, you then must enact this. And see, most of us don't work with the Constitution. That's why when they started talking about getting rid of the Constitution, remember there's talk about them doing that because people were starting to find out. So if I get rid of that book, then we put everybody over on this side. You see what I'm saying? That's why it behooves us to understand the private side and operate on that side.
Yeah, and the private side, we know we're private.
Right.
Because we know, like I say, synonyms are living, breathing being. I'm a living, breathing being. You know, I'm a natural person. You know, if I have a nationality, I'm a national, which means that I'm sovereign, I'm not subject. So all these things are synonymous with being on the private side, which most of us we can agree and say, yes, I am. But if we don't make this if we don't make this public and not say, no, wait a minute, hold up, shorty, not forget. Just let me show you something. Check this out. Then we are unequally yoked. We can't do nothing. I don't even. That's all I can say. We are unequally yoked. And again, we will never tap into our true divinity. You know what I'm saying? Really be the personification of the divine being because we're unequally yoked. We're a house divided against itself. Period. Because even though we may know about being in our proper status, but we're not doing it, yeah.
You still
Yeah. So you know, at best, you can prepare to be in a higher state next lifetime. At best. No, seriously. You know, unless you say, wait a minute, I need to choose to have my heart and my mind aligned. Because in the simplest terms, that's what we're saying. When you believe something, I know something. I know this. Yeah, man, I see me driving like, yes, sir, I know. I'm myself in the mercy of the court.
You're right.
I say, you know something ain't right. To pray, you saying like praying to Jesus or something. Get me out of this. Because I can't. Because that's all you're doing. You're invoking this human being side. Where you're giving power to someone on the outside of you. Like, man, I know I'm a living, breathing. I know I'm a natural person. But these laws are not for the natural person. Common sense will tell you that. They're not common law. Common sense, common law go together. Like a hand in glove. And so once I'm aware that, hey, man, I need to let you know I'm a natural person. You know, I'm a living, breathing blood. I'm sorry. If I fail to do that, then, like I said, it's just, you know, nothing to be said about that. You know, we just saw people who said, what must I do to operate like this, right? And then that's what we have, because we have to operate like that if we're going to grow involved as a people. We talk about being self-sustaining and what our people ain't right. Reparations, they don't give reparations to anybody. You know, we're talking about the Jews or the so-called Native Americans. If you realize that, you know, they're nations, the Jewish nations, you know, the nation of India, you know, the Federal Bureau of Indian Affairs, you know, they recognize them, you know, even though that's something they created. It's still, if we want on the below level, I'm not talking about true reparations, I'm talking about just some reparations, you know, which.
You want reparations?
No. I have reparations.
Okay,
I have repaired my rations. My portion are whole now, because I'm in my proper status. Right. But for those who want it, that's cool. You want it, you know, get it unless you're proper status.
Give it right back to
original. Exactly. So, and again, now this nationality piece, right? As I was saying earlier, I've already declared my nationality as a Moorish American, right? However, now what we're doing is my nationality is in transition to being I am. And what do I mean by I am? Let me share with you.
So Moorish
American. And you know, a lot of people have gotten turned off by the word being a Moor in this area. I almost got turned off, but I'm a Moor, you know. The reason being because
Ashep, maybe you should explain again what Moor is.
Right. When I say about Moorish American, I'm just simply saying that as an American, my nationality, my lineage come from the Moorish nation of Moors, either M-U-R or M-O-R. And what I mean by Moor is that I'm using the oldest and longest running political and legal identity of black people. You know, since we're the first people on this planet, period. When you go back to Lemuria, you know, Atlantis, you know, Tamaray, when all the continents were one big landmass, the continent was right. We will see it. We will see it doing our thing. Right. And so what I'm saying is a Moorish American, that name Moor is just like a general umbrella to say all those indigenous people, those first ones here, are Moors. Even if you want to like go through the different time spans of you know, generations, whatever, like at some point we have been known as the Kenites, as the Cushites, as the Moabites, you know, Israelites. I'm just saying they're all Moors, Hebrew Israelites, you know, the Olmecs, the Aztecs, the Cherokee, the Choctaw, you know, indigenous people, people of black people, we're just known as Moors. And a good information about us in our heyday, so to say, our last heyday, was between 711 and 1492. It was actually in Europe and Spain, and used through, you know, the universities, education, you know, knocking out the black pig, hygiene, and just, you know, live, baby, clean yourself up. You know, come on, you can do it. Encouraging civilizations to prosper, things like that. And we did that over in Spain, you know, and it just goes back to we've been at war with people with the European race. Back then, they were mostly called Christians and Muslims. You know, you don't have to be a Muslim to be a Moor. At a certain point in time, it's identified the Christians were Europeans and the Muslims were Moors. So we've been warring for quite some time. We've had some Europeans in slavery, you know, yada, 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 goes on and on and on. But I also be saying is that, because I understand that as a nationality, all I'm saying is that I belong to a people. I realize that if I call myself African American, you know, I'm a black man, you know, color, I don't really use that, but just African American or black, it doesn't denote my people. It doesn't denote like a nation. And around the world looks at people, who your people, what nation are you from? And if we don't have a nation, we're really shadow prophet because we take on the name Smith, Jones, you know, the European. And that in and of itself is saying, well, if I have a dog, I'm gonna name my dog Bible, you know, Jet Black, you know, black, whatever it can be. If I have a property, I'm gonna name my property, right? And they're y'all European names, so we're taking on the identity, the characteristics, the culture of another group of people. Even though we say I'm an American citizen, that really still has no foundational base, because even the so-called Americans here are really from another place.
Right.
You know, so they actually have a nationality someplace else.
Maybe German.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so America's like this big melting pot of people that come here thinking one thing. The great American dream is really great American nightmare. The people, you know, come here, give this land, make this so-called money, get a better life, so-called freedom. What you're really doing is you're entering into voluntary slavery. Even people come here, get these green cards, you know, naturalization, not nationality, but naturalization. I need to become a citizen. Give me a social security number. You know, just like someone who's born here with a birth certificate and social security number. Because those are the main documents, the birth certificate and social security number, that actually puts you in the category, the status as child property. Most people call it being a citizen. But if you're a citizen, you see what being a citizen has got to be. You're limited in what you can do. You can't do what you want when you want to do it, because even your own children, you know what I'm saying?
A good place for it to start, I guess, is you look up the term straw man on it, and that'll give you a lot of insight into
straw man?
Yeah, straw man.
Straw man. Just like I said, like Tin Man, and Wizard of Oz, a straw man. They didn't have a brain. And when you go to court, you have to have a lawyer, or at least they try to make you get one with all their power. You have to have an attorney. You don't have a brain.
Right.
Because a strong man is synonymous with dummy. It's in the Black's Law Dictionary. Dummy, strong man, it's all the same. You're incompetent. You're a minor. You can't speak for yourself because you don't know the law. You have an attorney to speak on your behalf. And the attorney, whether you pay them $1,000 per hour, whether it's a public defender, they still work for the system. So they won't only do so much. If you realize that I'm a living man, these laws don't make no sense. What do you mean? I didn't harm nobody. You throw yourself in the mercy all you want, but they all work for the system, the corporation, and they look at you, your status is over here, unless you really press them out. And they're going to get you on the railroad. That's just where the system is. You know, sad but true. And it's that way by design. You know, and it is beautiful because once we realize that, this is the resistance that calls us to say, wait a minute, I need to stand on my square. I need to speak up for myself. I need to stand in my truth. I need to allow my heart and my mind. My heart feels this thing. I know it's like this, but I can need to operate so I'm standing in my square, in my proper status. Yeah. Any other questions so far? Right. And so what I have here now, this title of this document, this legal document on legal paper, right, is an affidavit of fact, Declaration of Independence. Now, really, the first page, most of these are just titles that came from the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. This is another beautiful document, because it simply says the indigenous people around the world have the right to live as indigenous people without having the corporation tell them what to do. So by saying I'm indigenous, I don't have to really use the word more unless I just like, you know, just by being indigenous, it's still like a blanket term to denote that I'm one of the first people on this planet. And there are laws protecting the indigenous people. which makes me by default private. I'm not subject to these things because I'm indigenous. This is all for the corporation, for citizens. Now, if I choose to give up my indigenous status and become a citizen, then I give up my rights in exchange for privileges, which means I'm subject to whatever public policies that the policy enforces, the police enforce. Right? So let me read the last paragraph of this Declaration of Independence, right? It says, we, the indigenous peoples of the earth, also known as autochthons, Moors, Olmecs, Aztecs, Mayans, Kemites, Israelites, Moabites, Native Americans, et al., and everybody else. I didn't mention everybody else. Situated in and around Maryland State Republic and the United States Republic, District of Columbia, located on the landmass known as North America, North Almaraco, Northwest of Mexico, Northwest Africa, the land of our ancestors, do hereby declare this 6th day of April in the year 2014 of the Gregorian calendar, that we, an autonomous nation, a self-governing people, a separate community, independent of external municipal jurisdiction, shall be from this day forth known as I am it. Indigenous Aboriginal Man in Trust, with a nationality known as I am, Indigenous Aboriginal Man, and shall maintain perpetual peace and friendship between the citizens of the United States of America Republic and the indigenous Aboriginal people of our nation, pursuant to the various treaties between the United States of America Republic and our indigenous Aboriginal foremothers and forefathers, the ancient ones of this land. So, all we said was, we know we indigenous. Our affidavit, we all witness it, put it in the public. Any more questions? Not only do we put it in the public, there's a national public registry, costs maybe $10 for this, worldwide, international, as well as we send it out by mail, certified mail, to the President, Secretary of State, Attorney General, the UN, various international communities, as well as like Ghana. If we have connections to people in Ghana, we at least send it to their people to let them know that, hey, we established ourselves. So once we get our weight up a little bit and they can really stand with our square, if we want to import some stuff from Ghana, they know who we are. We can ask them about the land. We're a nation that you know who we are. This is the law. And we just live. We just live. Go ahead, comment.
I'd be happy to be the first one to sign. When you said United States of America, and the Republic, but don't you have to do United States of America Incorporated in the Republic?
You can, but I just did this. We talk to the Republic. We ain't talking about corporation. We talking to the Republic. We know there's a corporation. I'm just saying.
But you're talking to the Republic.
Right.
This is addressed to the Republic.
Right. And if we did it on a lower level, if they try to hem us up, then we talk to the corporation. Because normally the corporation is trying to stop us. Say, wait a minute, corporation, yada, yada, yada. And then because we let the Republic know, we also, and we let the international community know, the International Criminal Court, things like that. It's just a matter of we just let everybody know what they're doing over here. Denationalization, genocide, human trafficking, international crimes. And we have that effect if our weight is up, if we have the number of people who are not unequal yoke, but who know without a shadow of doubt that I'm a living being, man. You know, we just let them know and just live. Come stuff. We talk about being self-sustaining all the time, growing our own food and living and doing this and that. One way, right, to help ensure that is to do a declaration of your separation. Meaning that I'm just officially letting you know of my status, or we saying of our status. We the people, we got, so therefore when something goes on, right? Because like I say, I've done the solo thing. I've been out there. I've been going to court. Sometimes when I first started, people was coming with me, have a room for them. But the more I kept going to court, the more I tried it off. Like, man, we keep going to court with this cat, gotta keep coming back, taking our work, yada, yada, yada. So at some point, I guess, and plus I was going to do, like I say, I was operating with the law of force anyway. trying to enforce my rights. Look at me. I know my rights. I'm poking this child. I'm doing what you? Look at me. Look at me. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Oh man, that wasn't right. Go ahead.
What has been the result of Aboriginal nations or societies making the same type of submittal? What has been the result of any of them?
From what I know, they get to a certain level and then there's some type of something happens. I don't know what that something is. I can't speak on it. What I'm willing to say now, based upon I can't speak on it. Thank you. Wow. So I'm just throwing out there from my experience and from my being that it is because we have yet to really understand what it means to truly be in your proper status. In Latin, it's called in propria persona, in your proper person, right? The reason why this is so important, he was a divine being because as a Moor, right? Even as I am, this is beautiful. Yeah, I just see this conversation going as this. What's your nationality? I am. I am nationality. No, what is your nationality? That is my nationality. What is? I am. No, not what are you? What is your nationality? That is my nationality. Look here, man. I am it. What do you mean you? I am. Indigenous Aboriginal man. Entrusted with restoring peace, harmony, and balance. Entrusted with walking in my divinity. Walking as a personification of the Most High. Entrusted with awakening my Christ consciousness. Right? I am it. I'm entrusted to it. So that's what I'm saying. Indigenous Aboriginal man and trust. That's who we are individually as well as collectively. Right? So what happens is, one of the things that we talk about in the Moorish community, right? Boom. Circle 7. It sounds so good. Circle 7, man. What we throw this out there, right? We say Zodiac, Constitution. Boom. Circle 7, Zodiac, Constitution. It sounded good to me. I was more said Circle 7, get the 7 red around in Circle 7. Islam, I self law and master. Allah. It's all law. Allah. Arm, leg, arm, head. Allah, Allah. We had to lay it down. But we wasn't living it, for the most part. Because Circle 7, Zodiac Constitution, is still come back to self. It said, I self law and master. I'm a master of self. I know self. There are laws that govern self. I become a master of. Understand there's nothing more than energy. The Circle 7, I have 7 chakras. 7 days of the week. There's something to that. The Zodiac Constitution, the 7 planets give us the 12 Zodiac. You may say 10 planets, but 3 of those planets are higher octaves than the 7 make one that, in our solar system. So we're talking about the Circle 7, the Zodiac Constitution, baby. You better know self, your heart, your mind, and know that they're 2 separate things. And know that they're faculties, they're energy systems that make up your heart, make up your mind. It's just not a heart, a mind. There's some stuff going on that makes the mind do what it do. There's some things in the heart that make it do what it do. Then you got your personality. Split personality. What's your personality trait? You have bipolar. What's going on with the personality? Because the heart and mind, they ain't doing anything. What's up with that? Well, what's the heart and mind? Circle 7. Zodiac Constitution. We talk about it, but we got to know it. We got to, because really, as a nationality, because we are who we say we are, what the Moorish, or I am. This is us, right? That's our flag right there. I am it. That's our. It's on the document. We send stuff out. I am it. The masculine and feminine principles. Now this right here. Those know the science. Know the science is in there. And what we're saying is that as an indigenous Aboriginal man, right, understanding the Circle 7, my chakra system, my energy system, my organ meridian system, 12 meridians that make travel body, all that stuff. I'm harmonizing, getting that stuff down. I'm understanding self so that I can affect on the outside the change that need to be. In fact, in your proper status, divine being, knowing this, is not by force gonna make an impact like I was before. Like I said, I'm standing up. You gonna see me. I know my rights. Come on, man. I'm just focused on going within, seeking you first. Make sure how am I breathing? How am I vibration? How do I feel right now? Wait a minute, something I'm not thinking about. I'm not thinking this. Man, that's not. I know better than that because that's that thinking. That's not thinking over here. So, but at least I'm aware of it. It just comes down to being aware. First and foremost, just being aware of any and everything. By being aware, at some point in time, something's gonna happen, and you will start doing some stuff just by you wanting to be aware. You know, that is my testimony. Between the heads of the school right here, you know, Mama Bear and Tahuti, you know, I thank them because, you know, they gave me the opportunity to really sit down and go within. You know, because like I say, it was just last summer, right? Back to my little personal story. I did like the entire summer last year. I was locked up, you know, because of stuff that I did beforehand. Thinking I was having fun, I knew the law. But because I'm poking. And not just I'm poking, I'm doing some of this, I'm doing everything. I'm got my right to travel, I'm discharging credit cards, I'm fighting foreclosures, you know, I'm talking about doing trust, I'm going to court, the IRS, you name it. Any stuff that the corporate say, oh, you got one of my people? Come on, sit down here. That was the wrong way. At one point, because I was feeling good about going after them, at the same time, acting like I'm Jesus. I'll save you. Don't worry, I'll save you. I'm going to do this out of here for you. All you got to do is sign it. Nah, man, if you don't know what's going on, if you can't at least communicate. Not to help you together, but you got to at least communicate. That's where I am right now. I'm just more coach and sitting back. Because I was out of balance. I'm going by force. Like I said, now, I was sitting there, I came out of jail. I'm like, man, what am I going to do now? I said, I'm going to get a meeting about trust. She said, you come back up to the ISC. Like, oh yeah, I did stop when I got locked up. I'll be up there not December next time. And I ain't missed the Sunday since, and that's why I was out of town or something. So, and just by being here, it's like, wow, this feels like back in 93 when I first began my spiritual journey through Christianity. I had to go through this Moors, you know, just to get an idea of what's really happening. But now I'm back in spirituality. I come full circle. You know, because I was living it before I came in knowledge of it. I wasn't paying taxes, no driver's license, none of that. But I didn't know that there was a proper way to do that. There's a way to do that. There's a right way and a wrong way, they say, to do everything. And I was having fun, but I wasn't just quite doing it the right way. And for me, to answer your question, that's part of the reason why so many other organizations only get so far. Because they just not doing it the right way. There's a certain harmony is so subtle. Versus operating on the force. This is so subtle.
Okay, also in my question, I was suggesting that we, as I say, establish a network of indigenous nations, you know, aligning ourselves with other groups who say submitted that same type of document.
Right.
And start a network.
Absolutely, I'm all with that, you know. And just like anything else, first and foremost, beginning with self. So as we open ourselves up to integrate, to marry, to intercourse with other organizations on the same page, we have to make sure our shit is tight. You know, we have to make sure our shit. And based upon what we've been doing so far, we have some screws to tighten up. You know, just to be honest with you, we still can't be living at the same time. Well, again,
but I'm saying
the law of harmony and balance.
All the indigenous nations also could help with what's being done here. And I guess we can help them. I mean, it's all. I mean, everybody don't have to do everything.
Right. Right. And you know, that's going to lead us into our meeting, which is great. I want to check it in. Any more questions so far about anything? No? Cool. And what you're talking about is I agree with you wholeheartedly, right? All my suggestion is at the same time, because of what I see things now as a result of being in school, because even in the school, it's gave me the discipline just to say, wait a minute, I know all this stuff, all this, I can recite this, I can pull this up. Now I think over here, now what am I doing? Well, I started doing this, but I ain't doing that no more. What am I doing? I just found out that this list, what I was doing, was a lot less than this, all that I knew. So I said, wait a minute, that don't look balanced. I got to start doing some of the stuff that I know. And while I'm doing that, I want to stop getting in so much more information. Let me start bringing stuff in. I got stuff already. Not enough. Hold on. Take time. Just look at some things. Just look. Let me just look. Oh, hey, damn. Oh, that hurt me. Look. But if I don't look, it's gonna get worse. Then eventually, once I start looking, things just start changing, and I begin to see more balance. So now it's like, man, I need to talk and get you all the information. I'm already doing. Right? And so, as I see the results of that, all I can share, right, is being a part of the movement, is that we do the same thing as an organization, as a group level. We collectively look at what we know as a group. All the people that got who's part of our maybe come up here on a regular basis, look at the numbers, look at what we say. Wow. And then we look at what are we actually doing? That's all it is. I'm just saying, let's just start right there first. Let's just start right there. Because we're looking good on paper, we're looking good. But again, let's just look at the big picture. Based upon who's coming up here, what we know, and what we're doing. Right. Right. And faith without works is dead. So we walking dead right here, seems like sometimes. So but again, in your true proper status, right, as a divine being, which actually again encompasses the human being and all of this other stuff up here. When you truly hear, right? Nothing else really matters. Nothing else really matters. When I say nothing else really matters, I'm talking about like we said, man, they poison in the food, don't mean nothing. They poison in the air, okay, look here, man. I know chi. Chi is a tool that I use. The life force I use to manifest and create anything. Right? The will I use to impregnate the life force. So, in order to do that, let me just balance this thing out so I can do that much more effectively. So they poison the food that I say I need to eat the food. What must I do to absorb the chi from the earth therein? So as I stand a certain way, I can actually draw the yin energy in from the earth through my feet. As I'm conscious of the way I breathe, I can become conscious of my body extracting the chi from the oxygen that I breathe in. Right? This is what we're working on now.
Because you really become that divine being and you know how to work the true spell.
Yes. Right. And true reparations. When I say repair my rations, meaning doesn't mean individually I got a little portion of something. The people got a little portion of the land, we got something. But they take that from us, where's our portion? Where's my ration? You took my ration. I want my portion back. I need you to repair my portion, repair my ration that I was given. Would you please repair my ration? Give me some reparation, please. Please. As long as you're in your true status, whatever you desire, you don't need anything. Whatever comes you to create for the moment and time and place and space, whatever it needs to be done, you create it from source. Just right there, not just right here. From the dark matter, that's right in between us, it's all around us. The chi all around us, source all around us. Right now as we speak, I'm going to center myself. I'm balanced. Connect with that. And bring forth from that plane to this plane. I don't need to give you nothing. I bring it forth. Because I'm in my proper status. The appropriate persona. Now, until I can do that on a consistent basis, there's some things that I'm doing to be like, I'm mindful for the most part about those things, organic, alkaline for the most part, while I still do the work, you know, fast and breathe and all that, because it's a transition. Even though I'm here, I know intellectually. The work must be done to maintain it on a consciously consistent basis. That's all I see here for. For me at least, to give me the structure and discipline I need. I came with some shit, I came in doing all that. I'm like, man, you know, I don't even do some of the class. I may take the class, I'll sit there, spend time on the class, you know. That person, I'm like, shut up. This class, man. You know, okay, do what? And just do the homework. If nothing else, do the homework. What that says? First thing, it says discipline. Don't come to the beginning class, we only meet once a week. If I can't do the homework once a week, and this is the path that I've chosen, because I call it my rights and passion, go from adulthood to godhood. A class, it's a tool for me to self-realize self. If I'm not doing the homework, this is what I want to do. I'm not going to jump out of class, man. Give me a job, man. Do something. That's the way I see it. You know, because just by doing the assignment, stuff change. There ain't a whole lot. Even just coloring the mandala. We got a color book. Color once a week. I started out like, man, color book. Okay. Now I started coloring, man. Wow. Wow. Okay, that's all I have to say. Wow. But I didn't know that. I know something. I got all this stuff over here. I'm God. In the hotel. The combo stand. You know? That's right. You know I'm saying? I'm good. Talking around each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay doing this. Yeah. This. So, yeah. That's what's happening. So, that's my story. Any questions? I didn't think so far. No. So again, oh, one other thing though. Yeah, just a quick check here because this is the first Sunday of the month. And the first Sunday of the month is scheduled for our IMB meetings. So just to give you an update, just real quick. IMB, Indigenous Aboriginal Man in Trust, right? Well, it's kind of hard to erase, but basically, IMB has ISC. This is ISC Empowerment Center, She Collective Health Initiative, as Spirit Speaks, and the Law Institute. Right? And basically, this is also, we actually have a trust also. And this is Aboriginal Land Trust, it's an actual trust document. We're waiting for this to go file in land records the property. We actually have a property that will be in the trust, so we're not just, we're talking, you know, we make the proper movement to say, we got assets. Do a UCC 1 finance statement with the trust that's secured by the credit assets. That's called in land records. So we know what to do, we just got to do it, right?
We are doing it.
Right, we are doing it. And also, here's like 8 pages, putting together a little manual. It's like the first 8 pages of what we all talked about so far. So if you want to pass it around, it's just white paper in the back, fill up the thing, because it's kind of busy. But this is the beginning of our 101 manual, just to let everybody know what I am getting all about, things like that. So you want to take a look at it, you know, you can. But again, we just say that, so we know about the private and public side, we're just saying we're a group of private people, man. We're private people, calling ourselves Indigenous Aboriginal Man in Trust, right? And what we have working with is the Institute here, ISC, like our mystery school. It's a 3-year curriculum that gives us the foundation, the awareness of, and the discipline to do the work to realize self. You know, we get to talk about our heart, our mind, personality, our soul, you know, spirit. You know, we can identify these things and see how they operate and align ourselves with them. We have several activities going on that we covered, I guess, in the announcements. Just to name a few, there is a class. But besides the curriculum, 3-year curriculum, in the summertime, we have like workshops and classes. David gave them astrology to read, wonderful. We have Bell's books, bills, cameras, and spills, starting tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. Tuesday. Correct me, Tuesday. We have a silent retreat in October coming up. There's also boat ride. There's a lot of stuff going on at ISC. Like I say, we'll talk about that in the announcements. Just move on quickly. The Empowerment Center. Crystal Dayworth L. Owens runs the Empowerment Center. And the Empowerment Center is an organization that deals a lot with in the community, like grassroots in the community. Myself and Tiffany, and two others have actually do some work like the mentoring program and the rites of passage program, because it's the same philosophy here at IC. We know who we are, and what we're doing with the Empowerment Center is taking time to reach out. You know what I'm saying? Going to, you know what I'm saying, say, hey man, you know, however subtle it may be, to at least show them whether we talk about this stuff or not, just because we're aware of it, and if we're in our proper status, we're living it. So that vibration is gonna, you know, do something, no matter how small it may be. So the Empowerment Center is our outreach, community outreach. And the Collective Health Initiative, right, is like our department, health ministry, because we realize that everything is energy, the manifest universe, right? And this energy, when it comes to us, for the most part, it's the only thing that can be out of alignment constantly with this energy. So what we're saying is that the Collective Health Initiative is just a group of individuals who understand what's happening and say, hey, I have a tool to help bring in line and balance your energy system, whether you're on the physical level or the non-physical level, whether it be physical tools or non-physical tools. It doesn't matter. The purpose is your energy is in balance. Not only we have tools to help balance your energy, we also have information that you can be able to balance your own energy. Because here, we're not looking and say, we're not like you know, some other people say, oh, take this, come back and see me, and keep coming back. We're here to show you how to heal yourself. That's who we are as a people, heal ourselves. So we provide tools, physical and non-physical tools, to get you started in a lifestyle of healing self. That's all we're doing. Spirit Speaks is our way of communicating to the general public who we are and what we're going on. You know, so, there's a newsletter we got that comes out a month or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. You know, it comes out from time to time. When it comes out, it comes out. When it's not, it's not. But it's our way of communicating, because you gotta have communication. Communication rules in nature. And the Law Institute is simply that. The Law Institute is a trustee of the trust. And as well as a trustee of the trust, it was just like I was doing, you know, like other individually. I still do that now, because now I'm doing it under the Law Institute, right? And so I've actually sent out documents with I admit Law Institute on it, without flag on it, to the corporation, saying I'm representing so-and-so, or we represent so-and-so, who's in national, you know? So we protect the assets and the interests of our indigenous people. So if you're in your proper status, you have any issues going on, the Law Institute will gladly say, okay, look here, we'll talk to them on your behalf. As long as you know who you are and what's happening. You know, because law ain't for everybody, but you have to have a basic foundation. You know. And so, like I said, these are the entities right now that make up IMID. They're up and they're running, and you know, people are doing things in them, and our goal is to do more things in them. Also, with the Collective Health Initiative, we do have now a monthly social. We started out last month with the Chi Social, the second annual. This is a once a month thing now. Our next one is going to be August the 22nd. And we did raise a little fund for Chi Social. So now, on a monthly basis, we should have some funds coming in to operate. And the beauty of this is, again, everything's in harmony. What we do is in harmony, law of harmony. All we're doing is saying, hey, we can use donations, right? You know, if you, especially in the corporation. If you work for a corporation, right, ideally, you say, you giving your energy up, you know, was it 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, at least for the most part, and you're doing a good company job or whatever. So you're giving all your energy up to them in exchange for these Federal Reserve notes. And most people get the Federal Reserve notes right back to them. So they got this cycle going on. What we're saying is that if you work with them, why don't you give some of the Federal Reserve notes to us? In exchange, we got something for you. That's what the Chief Social is all about. Come out, have a good time, You know, we have some vendors there, healing services going on, got some good organic food, alkaline food. You know, it's a family event, generations represented. So come on out and have a good time, and it's a fair exchange. You have a good time, leave a donation, we get some funds. So she is all about energy anyway. So we're all about utilizing our energies. And ideally, we're at the point where a lot more of your energy, not just energy, not just cheap, but overall, I am me. More of your energy is not going to that plantation 40 hours, 50 hours a week, but a little bit more may come to, hey, I can go a little time here. I can assist here. I can do this. So therefore, you're not only giving up these reserves, you're going to give your actual energy, I am me, which is the main thing. We have to make that transition from talking about it to being about it. Now, you know, write a check all day long, we'd also let it have your physical energy because there's a certain synergy there with our hearts, and you know, there's something that goes beyond words. It just is.
ISIS.
That's right. That's right. So I at least want to mention about a little bit more about the IMS. Like I said, this is the first Sunday of the month, and based upon the number of people here, we're not going to have a meeting afterwards. So I can shut it over here right now. And of course, about IMS meeting, you know. We got some food growing at Rose house, Mama Rose. We haven't got the buckets up yet. I thought Rose was going to get it, but we'll see what's going on. We do got some food growing. We got some water in the back that's been outside of Mama Rose house is like our annex. We got the ISE here, the school here. The annex in school is over there. We're growing our food, got our water going on, stuff like that. And so I got 2 gallons over there that's playing this with this Nationality stone in there. I talked about that Nationality stone already. So whenever I come up here during the day, I'm here at ISE, meditate, do what I gotta do. I stop by Mama Rose by the annex. I grab some water, make sure the water filled up. Come on up here, hang out, meditate, whatever needs to be done. You know, that's my daily routine. So, you know, I am it. I'm living it. You know, I've been through some experiences. I'm just here to share my experiences and get support where I need to, so we can operate truly in our proper status as a unit. You know, there ain't no fun, and my homies ain't. So, you know, we all should be. Let's rise up, checking out languages, you know, encourage each other, just live, you know. And I guess that would probably be it. There's more questions, comments, concerns. Nope.
Hey, I just want to say.
Yes, sir.
I just want to put something out there. Even though you said that, you know that, when you're talking about the law institute, how the law is everybody, it's not for everybody.
Right.
When he's saying that, he's saying as far as representing the law.
Right.
I want just to put that out there.
Okay.
He's talking about that. He's talking about representing the law. But I need everybody to understand whether you want to deal with the law or not.
Right.
This earth is governed by the law.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So whether you want to participate and pay attention and focus on the law, that is totally up to you. You understand what I'm saying? But I just need everybody to know that this whole universe is governed by the law. And I need y'all to understand, and I want to raise everybody's conscience about the word law. The word law is not a word. It's an acronym. Okay? Law. Land, air, water. That's why they say he who controls the law is God. So they control the law with they control the air with their planes, they control the water with their ships, and they control the land with their police. So that's why they feel like they are God. See what I'm saying? So whether people want to deal with the law or not, I'm here to tell you, you have no choice. We're all being governed by these laws. We try to figure out why we are where we at is because we're not obeying the law.
That's right.
It's all got to do with man's made law. The divine beings, universal laws. So we get caught up in this. Man, you drive license and all, but it's a lot more deeper than that. The reason why you're getting pulled over by the man because you're not governed, paying attention to the law. universal law. So that man is just acting,
Doing his job.
doing his job,
Bring your attention to
bring
something.
your attention to something.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just want to get that out there. The law is very important. You know, we want to deal with it now. You know, so that's why ISE is all about.
Amen.
That's right. That's right. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you. I might have missed it. Do we have any announcements or anything?
We are planning our first annual Emerald Ball for September 27th at the Friendship Community Heights Center. We're looking forward to making sure everyone comes out and participates. We're planning the tickets to sell for $20 each, so encourage your friends to come out. We're going to have fun with this. We're going to be giving an award out that night. We're going to have drumming. We're going to talk a little bit about ISE to make people, not to make, but so people can have a better understanding of what ISE is about. And it's a way, and our dress is, what was that word that we use? I forgot the word. That we want you to dress as yourself, like a king or queen.
Yeah, king or queen attire.
King and queen attire. So we really would love everyone to really encourage their friends to come out. So, and they'll get a better understanding of you. And the second one is our silent weekend retreat, which promises to be very, 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 very powerful. Where after, I think, 9 o'clock, we will not be able to speak. So we will, Friday. So we will learn how to communicate with each other more so using our hearts and our minds. That's October 3rd to the 5th. And it's $125. It's going for a good cause, paying for the cabin, paying for the food, it's paying for a couple of the services that we will get. But it will be a dynamic weekend. You will really be able to get in touch with who you are. If you have any questions, please feel free to call ISE anytime and make your reservations. Thank you.
Thank you. We also want to make sure that everybody knows that the school is back up and running. We'll be having our 101 session starting in September, which is the first, what is that? Tuesday. Yeah, the first Tuesday in September, and that's a 101 session. And that's a 3-year commitment. Like Ashep said, you've got to do the homework. Okay. First Fridays of every month is Females Friday. Females Friday is where we have recognized that the female needs to be educated. Because if she's educated, then the world is educated. And I promise you, if you tell your females about this, this is information that her mama didn't know, her grandmama didn't know, and her great-great-grandmama didn't know. And that's why we are in the condition that we are today as females, because we did not know the information. We didn't know what it was to tell our sons to have them to help protect us. And they didn't know that. That's why they call us bitches and hoes, because they don't know what they're doing when they say those type of words to the female. But when she understands and she's able to educate her child, she's able to support her man in the way that he needs to be supported, so he can go out and do the thing to protect us. So our first meeting was this past Friday, and women were just, I think they really enjoyed it because they got some information that they had never heard before, you know, about being female and what that really means, and about really supporting a man, and how do you choose the man that you allow to impregnate you, you know, to give birth to that seed that will rule this world. So,
and all that goes.
When is the next? First Fridays, every first Friday of the month. And so the next one is September 7th, so the first Friday. So, yeah, but anyway, it's the first Friday of every month. And so right now it's a once a month meeting. Also, it really gets off 5th. Thank you. So the 5th of September will be the first. Anything else? Oh, every day at noon we have a meditation. We have a physical meditation here. Every day at noon we do it from noon until 12:20. And if you can't physically be here, then we ask that you do it wherever you are, except for Mondays. Mondays we're not open on Mondays.
Well, I'm up here, but, you know,
Tuesday through Friday, Ashep is here every day. We do meditation. Anything else? No.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, used
Oh yes.
someone made mention about these wooden pillows, right? Healingplaza.com is the address. Well, it's kind of small, but healingplaza, PLAZA.com. You can go there. They have many different types of wooden pillows and back supports. The wooden pillows are really designed, wooden pillow service, right? Without any much conversation, basically, they're all designed to help realign your spine in some form of shape. Based upon the shape of them, the length of them, you place them in certain positions, they're on a hard surface. They're all designed to help realign your spine. As I was speaking earlier about the Circle 7 in the Zodiac Constitution, there's energy flows. This chi, this life force flows from the root of base chakra, crown chakra. That's one of the ways that it flows. And if our spine is not really what it was called properly aligned, there could be some blockages where the energy is not able to flow like it should flow, which will cause some distortion in our perception and our ease, things like that. So I've been using mine for since before 5 years, 2009. I've upgraded now. I actually got a lower back bolster specifically for the lower back, and I have these for everything, and it did work. So I just wanted to make this announcement because we're planning on ordering some. And coming to say we should make the announcement just in case somebody else wants to order some. So either give me after the service, and or just go to the website itself. They have videos, things like that. As light workers, everything is light. Without any flowing and everything is priceless. You have that spine line. It's priceless.
Thank you. So with that, we don't have any other announcements. Then we like to pray ourselves out. There's refreshments in the back, so we do it. Hands, thumbs left, we hold hands, and it's man, woman, man, we have all men today. It's always so our thumbs are left. Okay, so we have to do two men and a woman. Okay, this is good. All right. So if you stand on your square, that means your heels are together. That makes a 90-degree angle. And just say to yourself, peace, be still. And breathe. And Father, Mother God, we do give thanks for this time and this place, knowing that we are the divine people of this earth. Let us now take authority in knowing who we are, taking back our power, reaffirming, remembering our DNA, and knowing who we are so that we may walk this earth in our divine authority. We thank our guides, guards, ancestors, and the ancient ones who come and live in their power here this day. And we take this wisdom and knowledge out into the world. And for this time that we spend together in oneness and harmony, we say Ashe,
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 Asheo.
Asheo.
Peace. Give a hug, get a hug.
And we didn't pass the law saying, we asked that you give a donation to the Institute.
No, I moved to Baltimore.
I just got home out of jail. Yeah, okay, right. Okay.
I got you.
Welcome back. Yeah.
I try to track
Wow.
way out there. Way out there. In fact, I was
Yeah. Why not? They know what they're doing.
Cool. Thanks, man. How you feel?
Wonderful. How about yourself? Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, we took that raw class.
The raw class?
Here, remember we was on the elevator coming up. I was too sure. We missed your
Raw class?
Yeah. No, I didn't. I thought, no, they extended it, something going on in September.
Okay.
So I don't know, because it wasn't in July. So I think they're going to do something in September. So I'm curious to see how it can work out. I actually ordered the transcript because we put it there. It was too much bright.
Right.
It was a whole lot bright.
Yeah. Okay, she was there with me that day. This one was on the elevator. And she raw class.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, I like what you're doing. I'm dealing with a little bit of law stuff as well.
Right.
Yeah, just property stuff like that.
Yep. It's a matter of time. Casting spells, you know.
Yeah. I just want to ask you some questions. I don't know if this part may not be the right form, so I want to get your number. So I think I did a couple of things that were going on there. I'm trying to get through the property was. There's a couple of little issues I'm trying to deal with. But like the problem, like it's like my system and right, you know what I'm saying? So I'm having an issue with the judge really letting me come in and do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? Because they're saying that, trying to say that I'm not a party to something, but I'm telling them I am a party to it because I put all the money into the property here regardless of whose name it may show up in the records. You know, if they're telling you on the record that they're holding the property constructive trust for me, why are you telling me that I'm not a party to this and I put up all the money and they're here supporting the affidavit?
Is the property in trust already?
No, it's not in trust already, so I can't switch it because it's already in litigation. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you can't put the trust bonds in litigation?
Yeah, if it's within a year before litigate something like that, they're called fraudulent things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just based on what I did financially, that should overcome whatever. You know what I'm saying? But they even trying to say.
Right.
You know, because whenever I seem to have a problem like attacking them. When they were attacking me, of course we can defend, you know, to get on the private side what you need to do. Right. But to attack, that's what I'm having issues with. You know, to attack, I went on their side of defense. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So even though I understand no money and all that, I went on their side and said, you said you got to know it this way. I went on their side because to prove that they did not. Right. So when I come back and bring it to them, the judge, everybody is mad. Like, how does nigga figure out all this show right here? So they're just trying to shut everything down. So I'm trying to get on the judge, but the judge up there acting.
Let me stop this thing. Live stream going on.